All right then, welcome back to the channel. Player ratings. If you like this sort of stuff, hit subscribe. Please give me your thoughts in the comments as well. This isn't just here's what Steve thinks and shut up. Like, I do read the comments and I do listen to what some of you guys are saying as well. And I'm interested in what you guys thought about the performance. So let's get into it, shall we then? So, like I said last night, the draw wasn't enough. But let's look into some of the individuals that took part in the game and how they did. Starting in goal with Onana. I ummed and ahed on this one a little bit, but I'm going to say 6 out of 10 because he had a real busy night. He had a hell of a busy night. He made 5 saves, 4 of which from inside the box. Even though he's conceded 3, he could have been a hell of a lot more. So you go, okay, that pushes his rating up a little bit. Now you're looking at 7s and 8s. All right, but then what? Well, big reluctance to claim any sort of high balls or punch clear anything. Didn't help with the sort of aerial dominance that that Porto had, especially from set plays. His distribution was okay. I guess it was just fine. Did okay with his long balls. 8 out of 12 is not bad for a long ball. Real low percentage kind of chance. It felt like Porto either targeted him or United's defence with crossing. So for that, I got to go like no more than a 6 out of 10. I don't think really. Mazraoui, I need more adjectives in my vocabulary because I'm running out of them. Mazraoui is a great footballer. He's really just taken Dennis Irwin's mantle and gone, I'll roll with that. Defensively reliable, great awareness. He brings quality. He had 10 clearances. He had 4 interceptions. He even had 1 block shot. He's solid in 1v1s. He won 6 out of 7 ground duels. That's sort of been the story of his entire season. Just everything he does is calm, it's composed, and there's quality about what he does. His positional sense allowed him to cut out quite a lot of dangerous Porto attacks. He bailed us out early doors in the game with that. Offensively, he isn't contributing too much offensively. He only had the 1 cross. Didn't have a hell of a lot of impact going forward, but he keeps it ticking. 74 touches, 89% pass completion. Very, very important for how United play and a reliable performance on the defensive end, even if a little bit limited in the attacking phase. So 7 out of 10 for Mazraoui, which is kind of like the standard that he's come in and set for us. De Ligt. It's quite funny because I've been arguing with Rio all fucking night about our defence. I'm there Monday, so I'll have a chat with him, I'm sure, about how it's going on. It's interesting, obviously, getting the second best player to ever play in a Premier League in defence opinion on defenders and telling him he's fucking wrong. The arrogance. He's fucking wrong. Now, De Ligt, again, another mixed performances. 8 clearances, 7 out of 10 aerial duels won, but the ones he lost cost us. And his decision-making actually let him down on a couple of occasions. He had 1 error that led to a real dangerous Porto attack. He was solid with his passing, as he generally is, 89% pass completion. But there was moments where his positioning, people got across him and he was a little bit vulnerable to some of the quicker counters from Porto, who were blistering with their counters, by the way. I think he struggled a little bit with the pace of some of Porto's forwards, especially in the transition. And position on set plays probably could have been a little bit better. And again, he didn't really add to United's ability when it came to dealing with that. So I think it's got to be a 5 for De Ligt, I think. I was going to give him higher, but I feel like it's got to be a 5. Now, Martinez played with his usual aggression and commitment. 7 clearances, 3 interceptions. He actually won 6 out of his 7 duels. And his passing was sharp, 93% pass accuracy, 54 out of 58 passes, helping us kind of play out from the back. But he was caught out of position on a few times. He was in some weird positions, which I'm pretty sure is going to be tactical, but it looked weird on the eye. And when Porto countered quickly, he again struggled to cope with the speed of them in transition. And his small stature did leave him targeted when it came to the aerials. He only won 1 out of 6. That massively contributed to how effective Porto's crosses and set plays were. And despite how good he was on the ball and with some of the usual sort of aggressive defending that he brought, he did have some shaky moments as well. So he's a 5 as well. Delo, another one that had a tough night. Lost possession 13 times, which is one of the highest in the team. Dribble pass twice. Crossing ineffective, 3 attempts, none found their target. Despite getting into some pretty good positions, he didn't really offer a lot of threat going forward. And he was often exposed by Porto's wingers, or Porto's wingers, should say. Only won 4 out of 10 ground duels. Another performance that was marked with slow recovery when United lost possession, leaving some gaps that Porto did exploit, especially down this side of the pitch. So another 5. And I think that lies the crux of the problem. Keeper's pulling saves out of his arse. Mazraoui's played all right. 3 out of the 4 in defence dropped a below average game. Midfield. So we did see a new shape in midfield. It was a 3 rather than a 2 and a 1. And I like that. And I like that we were seeing it. And Casemiro looked better. Wasn't perfect, but he looked better. He made 4 tackles, 2 interceptions. But his lack of mobility was exposed a little bit. Not so much as we've seen him in recent games when he's pressed so high. He was the single pivot. He only won 3 out of 8 ground duels. He did complete 86% of his passes. He did show a big importance in terms of keeping hold of the ball. He did miss a big chance as well, which might have changed the outcome of the game. But defensively, he did help break up play. His tendencies were exposed a little bit because of the absolute blistering pace that Porto bring. I think the right decision would have been at Ugarte alongside a Casemiro. I think that might have been a better balance for us, or even Ugarte alongside of Bruno, actually. But it wasn't a bad performance by Casemiro. I just think it was a 6 out of 10. Christian Eriksen played a little bit higher up. Again, it was more like a midfield 3, so you would see him occasionally as the middle player, occasionally as the highest one up. And you saw him getting on the ball. Again, the most creative player in the United side. 87% pass completion, 6 key passes, 4 accurate crosses from 10. His vision, his creativity, his range. One of the reasons why United created so many chances tonight. Massively important when it came to finding runners in the final third. And defensively, yes, less impactful. That's not why he's on the pitch. And that's why it's a problem when you play him as one of the 6s. Oh, why United getting overrun all the time? This is one of the reasons. But you make him part of a midfield 3, or you make him the 10, and you ask him to only do the big stuff, and he's happy days. He's getting a 7 out of 10 because of how effective he was in terms of creativity. And I liked having him higher up with less defensive responsibilities, and I think it's something that United should look at going forward because he was damn effective and wasn't the defensive weakness that he has been in the past. Bruno. So lost possession 10 times, which is low for him. Did manage 4 key passes, as did Casemiro as well, by the way, if I didn't mention that. Completed 84% of his passes, which is better for him. But again, decision-making questionable at times, poor shot selection, a couple of misplaced passes. But he was more engaged defensively. He made 6 tackles, he made 3 interceptions. And that comes from that work rate that we know is there with Bruno, being more effective, being able to be in positions where he can put that work rate and that sort of crackhead energy that he brings to good use. Picked up a couple of needless yellows and gets himself sent off for the 2nd game in a row. Now, the first one's been rescinded, so he's not going to get banned. This one, I don't know. But happy to see him moved around and his role adapted, but he's still got a hell of a lot of work to do to keep himself in the team, I think. But yeah. Right, forwards. Ahmad. Let's start with Ahmad. Ahmad has had, and I don't think this is the first time that he's had this. I do need to check it. Ahmad has had 100% pass completion, which I'm pretty sure it's not the first time that that's happened for him. Not just this season. Well, yeah, this season. But that's crazy. For a wide player, you expect them to be taking risks. You expect them to be making things happen. He had 3 key passes, so he still was very creative. But he completed 24 out of 24 passes. That's fantastic. That's genuinely fantastic. You know, that's really, really important when he's doing stuff like that. His ability to maintain the ball in tight places, his ability to link play is incredibly underrated. I think he's got a bright future, but I would like to see him contributing a little bit more with goals. You know, he didn't put himself in a position to score, really. He had 1 shot. When United are taking 29 shots, you want to see someone of your forward 3 taking more than 1 of those. So there's a criticism in Ahmad's game at the moment is he nits play nice, his ball retention is absolutely sensational, and that adds something to United's attack. But he's got to start taking some more shots. He really, really does. Only 1 successful dribble out of 4. He works hard defensively. But yeah, it was a solid performance. I'm going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. He's got to shoot more often. Marcus. So he only managed 1 shot on target, and it opened the scoring. Happy days. He did complete 84% of his passes. He also created 1 big chance. He offered us pace and threat. Completed 3 out of 3 of his dribbles. Taken off at half time, which I didn't actually hear what the reason for that was. He was a massive threat in that first half. A massive, massive threat in that first half. And I think he came off the pitch at the time being probably United's most creative player. I thought he was doing fantastically well. He won all 4 of his ground duels, 4 out of 4. He got a clearance and a tackle in there. And it was a really strong showing for him. I hope it's not an injury, and I hope it doesn't keep him out long, because he's starting to round himself into some form at the moment. And that's going to be big for United, because he is probably the one with the highest ceiling. Certainly proven highest ceiling in the team at the moment. And we're going to need some goals. This team cannot thrive without goals. Great amount of chances created tonight. Still didn't score enough goals. 3 goals for 29 shots is ludicrous. Hojlund scored an important goal, obviously. Great to see that in 1 shot on target, 1 goal. Again, we've had 29 shots and our striker has only managed 1 on target. Now, he only managed 2 in total. Who's having all the fucking shots, lads? But wasn't involved in the game at all. Only 5 passes completed. That was out of 6, but still. You want to see him involved more. 70 minutes on the pitch, you want to see him get involved far more than that. Failed to impose himself, I think, on the Porto back line. Obviously isn't match fit. He's got to get himself match fit. His movement off the ball was good, but lack of ability to get himself chances hurts us to a degree, I think. So I'm going to say 6 out of 10. Garnacho, come off the bench, obviously replaced Marcus at half time, and he did bring some directness and some energy, but again, the decision-making, there's got to be question marks for me. The decision-making's not quite there yet with him. He's got the sort of like mentality of a goldfish. Doesn't matter if he's just missed a chance, he's having another chance. He had 8 shots, completed none of his dribbles, got on the ball, 15 out of 17 passes, which is nice. Didn't create for anybody else. You know, these are when I talk about the decision making of Garnacho, this is what I mean. He is a threat, but sometimes that can be at the detriment of everybody else. 8 shots is ludicrous. If you come on the pitch as a winger and you have 8 shots and you create nothing for anybody else on the pitch, I don't find that acceptable. I really don't. I think your duty is to create for other people. The same way I'm going to hammer Diallo for not having enough shots, but Diallo comes on the pitch, he has no shots, creates 3 chances for others. Garnacho comes on, he has 8 shots and creates no chances for others. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? There's got to be a balance between them. Between the two of them, you've got a sensational forward. But individually at the moment, both of them have got a little bit of polishing and a little bit of work to do, I think. So again, bright, it's dangerous, but there's got to be some final product from him, whether that's creating for others or putting the ball in the back of your net yourself. There's got to be a way of doing it. Zirkzee. So a little bit like Hojlund, struggled to get into the game and registered only 3 passes. It was a brief appearance, but his involvement was minimal. He didn't really create anything of note and struggled to get involved and impose himself on a game. So 5 out of 10. Antony. Antony actually shown a little bit. I'm sitting here watching the game going, if Antony's the fucking answer man, what's the question? But he created 3 chances when he came on the pitch. 83% pass completion. Only 1 successful dribble out of 3 attempts. Did offer a little bit more control and creativity than I expected him to, but he didn't do anything that changed the game. So 5 out of 10 for Antony. And the gaffer, nice to see him changing something from a tactical perspective. United looked sharp at times. We looked a little bit more structured, but we were exposed and we conceded 3 unanswered goals in the middle of the game, which almost completely blew it up for us in a game that I feel he probably knows he had to win. Substitutions probably didn't have the desired impact. Yes, Harry Maguire comes on and scores. Not necessarily in the team to do that, but he did do that, so I'm sure Ten Hag's pretty happy with that. Decision-making over Fernandes's continued involvement, probably going to get questioned by a few people, especially with him getting another red card. He's in a results business and he's not getting results. Like I said, a draw is not a result, so gaffer, 5 out of 10, I think, for this one. Nice to see him change it, but you've got to install some sort of a resiliency or some sort of a way of, like you're 2-0 up. Can we lock it down until half-time? You get 2-0 up so early in the game, there should be some leaders on the pitch doing it, but also it comes from the sideline too. It's a bit of a joint thing here. Lock it down, and let's not concede. And you get into half-time at 2-0, and everything's totally different with the world. Right, lads, this is what we're going to do in the second half. Not entirely his fault, obviously, if the players have brain farts, but, it looks like it's not something United have got the ability to do, which is just completely lock it off. And, we need to know when to do that at certain times, I think. But anyway, that's my ratings. As always, please let me know yours and your thoughts on mine in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.